do as we did, which is to transfer the money from the personal vehicle tax to pay for improved roads. That's what we did.
Okay.
I hope they keep it, and I hope they protect our roads with it.
Okay, Scunny's on the line from Toronto. Scunny, do you have a comment or a question for my guests here?
Yes, Dale. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I want to thank everybody for being involved in this show. I've listened to Gord and Franz for years, and I think Denzil's very brave to be on about this stuff. But I think the green initiatives are going to be very important to Mayor-elect Ford, because now he's got to do more than just complain about the problems that we all see. Now his success as mayor is going to depend on fixing the problems.
Yeah.
And I think the transportation problem is probably the biggest thing. It was at the forefront of the debate throughout the campaign.
Yes, it was.
Cycling is the solution. You forget about cycling and you treat those people badly, and I think he's going to have a huge problem on his hands because it's a safety issue, and I think we'll see people going to court and taking the city to court. And quite frankly, could the active transportation advocacy community ask for a better target than Rob Ford?
Well, on what basis would you take the city to court or Rob?
Unsafe infrastructure design.
Oh, I see. All right. Okay.
Right, where are the bike lanes we've been promised all these years?
Yeah.
Mayor Miller on your show virtually apologized for not doing enough for the cyclists in this city. We were promised an awful lot going into the start of his tenure. It didn't happen, and we all know it didn't happen. If it continues, then the city of Toronto is putting its citizens at risk when it encourages us to get out on the streets and ride to mitigate all the problems we know that it does help with, and yet we're not given a safe place to ride.
Okay, Scunny, thanks for that. Let me run with that for a minute. That's certainly a hot button issue in the city of Toronto, is it not?
It wasn't.
Cycling.
It has been in the last year, and especially the University Avenue bike lanes, which happily was defeated by this council. I mean, it's become in some ways more of a political issue than a real pragmatic issue. One of the things, Dale, that I was proposing, instead of having bike lanes that compete against cars, you've already got an existing bike lanes downtown along Sherbourne and Wellesley and Beverly Street. You could connect all those up. You could, as the caller said, you could put curbs there or bollards there. You could that separation that he's talking about, make it safe for bicyclists. Mm-hmm. You could do something along Richmond Street or Adelaide Street, and there are more people to go east, west, and north, south.
But from what I hear from the mayor and what I've heard from the mayor and talking to the mayor-elect over the years, and especially during the campaign, seems to me those cycling priorities going to be fairly low on the totem pole. I'm thinking, at least from the point of view of the mayor himself.
Yeah, and that's what we have understood so far. But let's step back for a moment and think about what streets should be. Streets should be a place where I can go on with my daughter on her bike and on me on my bike and travel safely, where cars can drive if necessary, and where transit vehicles can be, and where pedestrians don't have to worry about being run over.
Where cars can drive if necessary. Yes, it is going to be necessary to have cars on the roads.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the idea is that we need to negotiate and navigate that, and that means recognizing that everybody has a right, and we need to figure out how best to do this. What we've seen in the last year is a lot of hyperbole with this notion of war on cars, and there have been some cyclists that have also kind of fed into that. We need to get beyond that. We need to sit down and rationally figure out what's the best way of moving people around so that they're healthy, it saves us money, and it's good for the environment.
Are we going to be able to move beyond that? You guys in council, do you think? This is always going to be a hot topic.
It's interesting. You saw a moment of it just when Denzil was talking.
No, don't pick on Denzil. He's a new cyclist, as a matter of fact.
Congratulations.
And I know he likes cycling.
It's good.
Maybe not on Yonge Street, but...
The issue, Dale, has always been whether a councillor has the courage and the tenacity to stand up for cycling in their own ward. And it's lovely for Denzil to come down and tell Adam Vaughan, to give up on the idea of Richmond and Adelaide being two-way streets and all the great plans Adam has for that area. Where the courage comes is from people like Councillor Glenn de Bearmaker, who, a great environmentalist, and he was returned with a great margin, who went out and persuaded his community in Scarborough that if we're going to have a real network, it has to reach the whole city, and he got lanes into his ward.
You have to be able to go from A to B to C.
And that's been the problem. That's been the problem. There's been an old guard on council who thinks we're still in the 1970s or maybe the early 80s and aren't ready for what Franz was talking about, complete streets. The thing that's going to be interesting, and there are a number of new environmental faces on this council, is how many of the suburban councillors will stand up and be part of the effort to build that complete street network throughout the whole city.
There aren't big bucks behind these kinds of things anyway, are there, Denzil? Not really.
But in terms of painting, well, painting lines doesn't cost...
Even putting bollards on the street. I mean, compared to all the other things that the city spends money on, if you put the two budgets together, $11 billion, it's really not much.
What we do need, most importantly, from what I hear from the cycling community, is we need a network downtown.
Yeah.
And you need that east, west, north, south network.
You're not disagreeing. You're just disagreeing on some of the streets chosen.
Well, I just,
right?
Like I think Franz was saying, it shouldn't be a competition. This isn't a zero-sum game.
Yeah.
This isn't, a bike lane has to displace a car. There are those people who actually believe that this is actually a conflictual thing, and you have to get rid of the cars. I don't buy into that. There has to be coexistence, and that's why you don't take main streets out like University and Jarvis. You create a network and connect what we already have downtown, and I think that's going to make people really happy.
Yeah. Okay.